o'clock. So if I guess you rise, join the pledge, we will open the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll start the meeting off with the sad note of listing the names of those individuals from our township that passed away in November, December of 2020. Roseanne Jackson. I went to school with Roseanne. I think Gretchen had her in school as well. And it is the mother-in-law of Jennifer Jackson, our bookkeeper. Bill Thompson, another resident, graduated from Fort Ann. Bill's mom used to be the school nurse here in Fort Ann. Lives over on Route 22, up in part of the middle of Granville and Comstock. Terry Bennett, I recognize the name, Gretchen.
They lived over toward South Bay.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I know what you mean that, yep.
The one who, he worked for the state highway department?
I'm not sure. Fawn Bennett, Zeb, that was his kids.
Living off the grid.
Yeah, yeah. Hub Vic Foreign.
Oh, that's the one?
Yep. And Hub goes way back. Hub was, he's 81, I'm 71, and his father, Vic Foreign, used to coach Little League here in Fort Ann. And I played on that team that old Joe Foreign coached, and Dick was his assistant coach, if you will. And many of the youth at Fort Ann, and many of those youth that went on to be coaches at Fort Ann, came up through that organization, and they really learned a lot about the basics and the ethics and the hard work of Little League, and carried over to Middle League and went on up through as them and their children progressed on. And so not only was he great in that area, but he was also the mayor of Fort Ann for many, many years. And he worked very hard at keeping the taxes down for our aging population within the village of Fort Ann. And when he could partner with the village and the town, Hub was very receptive to that. And he was a great public servant. And then Donna Kilmeyer. Donna was just one of the nicest ladies I think any of us would ever meet. Her husband, Lance Kilmeyer, maybe her husband, Lance. Lance goes back into the days again when I was a youth. He was my Boy Scout leader. Him and Earl Madison and a group of other guys. So we've lost some real lifelong citizens of Fort Ann and some guys and gals that contributed greatly to our town, and they'll all be missed. All be missed. And thank you for preparing that, Gretchen. Appreciate that. Okay, so we open the regular meeting at 6 p.m. Approve the meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Michael? George? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Approve minutes of the special town board meeting for 11/5/2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll do it.
Gretchen, do you have a second?
I'll second.
Michael? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
I'll abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay. How about yeah, you were having surgery, weren't you?
I was.
Yes. Okay, approve the minutes of the regular town board meeting on 11/9/2020. Have a motion? George, you have a second? Michael, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now we will do the financial report for October 2020. Okay, checkbook balances. The general fund was $49,588.50. The highway fund balance was $30,245.04. The youth commission, $8,739.15. And the Headlock Dam project, $240.09. The Headlock Park District Fund, $6,596.90. The Consolidated Health District, $370.48. The Trust and Agency Fund, the balance is short $616.59, but we'll be transferring some monies to take care of that. And then we got class count, Medical reimbursement fund, the balance is $4,166.70. And then the same account balances we have in the night class, the general fund, $93,188.64. In the NIAP class, highway fund, $502,269.37. In the New York class, Hadlock Park fund, $95,678.78. In the Lone Star fund, $9,126.30. Any questions on any of the balances or any today? If none, then we will move on. An authorization to pay the bills. Can I have an authorization to pay the bills that we signed tonight?
I'll make that motion.
Deb makes the motion. Do we have a second? Gretchen makes the second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, public comment. Do we have anybody from the public who wants to make a comment or have anything on any of the agenda items you want to comment on? Okay, if not, we will move on to the reports from town officials and committees. Okay, I will start off with the fact that our highway superintendent has been quarantined. The highway superintendents had their annual get-together, their meeting, if you will, down at the Fort Edward Firehouse. And our superintendent, along with the 16 other ones, and some of their deputy superintendents, attended the party. At the end of the day, they got a phone call that one of the exhibitors that had been doing the display down there with them had tested positive for COVID, and therefore all 17 were quarantined. In addition to that, when we finalized the whole issue down there, within Washington County, we had 33 people that were quarantined as a result of that one exposure because they'd all been exposed to the same individual. So that was the one thing that took place a week ago now. In addition to that, at the county level, we ended up shutting down the Fort Edward Highway Department and the Middle Falls Highway Department because they had one laborer that worked back and forth between the two buildings who tested positive for COVID, but he had interaction with all of those individuals. So they were all quarantined and we lost those people for a week. This weekend in the schools, it has not been a very good week. We have 8 people doing contact tracing down at the county. And today that I ordered this morning that we open up the emergency command center once again. And we're now looking at moving individuals that work in other jobs but got trained as contact tracers to come out of those departments and contact train because we're well over 100 people that were trained to contract trace. And it's very difficult to get all the information because then we talk to them, they've got a significant other, somebody else that has tested positive, whatever the case may be. And just about to close a business today at the county, we got the notification that the court system was closing down our courts in Washington County Municipal Center because we had a juror in the grand jury pool whose significant other had tested positive. And that was like on Wednesday, and I believe it was Thursday he came into the thing and was there for 3 hours, and he got his result telephonically that he had tested positive as well. So we had to send home all the departments in their probation department, the defense attorneys, and the DA and those type of things today, so we can clean it up and start our contact tracing on those that have been there. So the disease is here, it's now starting to run rampant, and so a lot of it is a result of the Thanksgiving time, the families getting together, and the traveling and stuff. You know, I'm not looking to blame anybody, but it's just, it is what it is. It's there. So we all need to be vigilant and be careful. Along those lines, we put the highway department back on their summer hours, 10-hour days, so they're not working Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. We're breaking them down into shifts and crews Paul's going to, so that they're all not there at the same time, and so they can still be out plowing roads and doing what they need to do along those lines with least exposure. As far as it goes here, this court is now closed. They can't take any payments, any fines. I don't even believe they're going to be doing the arraignments here at this point in time. It's been shut down in its entirety, and I think they're going to be arraigning everybody as we speak through the one that's down at the county jail. There's an arraignment site down there. I think that's what they're going to be using for the county because the courts are closed. Which brings us to our next level of concern is where we may have to go here in the future. So no one should be surprised if we have to go to our emergency plan of shutting down the facility the way it had been originally when COVID first came back out and it started because the numbers were growing drastically. And the report that we're now putting out from the county, I know other people were doing it in other counties, but we specifically took the attitude we weren't going to do it because what we didn't want to do was put out the image that if a town didn't have any positives, that it was a safe place to travel and go for all your eating or your shopping or whatever the case may be. Those numbers we're putting out, we're going to put it out once a week, and it's going to be only what's based on that week. So if we may have 25 and 40 in this week, next Monday when it comes out, it'll be whatever it was this week. Could be higher, could be lower. But it's not going to be an accumulated thing because that comes and goes. And quite frankly, we don't have the staff to administratively try to make all those adjustments because you've got people that are quarantined or not quarantined. And some you get that they've already been, by the time they've been tested to be positive, you know, they're on they've already been treated at the doctor's office, but they weren't treated for that. And so that makes it very difficult to try to get an accurate count. Just received a letter from a bars group that was in the mail today. It's in regards to grant alert. CARES money could be available. They got $5 billion and it would be utilized for infrastructure, public facilities, housing assistance, public services, a combination thereof. I need to do a little more research on to see if there's anything there the town could apply for that would be advantageous for the town. Tomorrow, from 2 to 3, I'll be meeting with the supervisor of Putnam, Dresden, Whitehall, Kingsbury, and Fort Ann, and Fort Edward as well, the 6 towns. And there's going to be a power cable come down. It's coming out of Quebec, Canada. It's going for 330 miles. And it's going to go all the way down to New York City to provide electrical power for New York City. The cable's going to be buried. It's going to be buried along the Lake Champlain, the canal, and railroad tracks. And all of those towns will have a certain amount of it going through them. We have about 6.9 miles, I believe, in this. I'd have to look again because sometimes it changes when they type it up. I don't know why it would change, but it does. And to see what that is. The meeting's going to be on a host package to see what they may give us to come through our town, to put their cables through our town. Everything will be on the table to see what they offer up and then come back. And once I get something to work with, I'll let the town board know what their thoughts are and what our thoughts maybe should be. You know, one of the things I'm hoping is that it works out to be a cash thing rather than an equipment type thing. Because number one, if they were to say, okay, we're going to get you a new fire truck. So now we've got to fight with 3 fire departments to know who's the fire truck. Okay?
Yeah.
And then we've got to take a look at you know, do we have a place to store it? And then, okay, how are we going to maintain it? That's going to be additional money for us in the future, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope we can stay away from equipment and those kind of fixed asset things. I'm hoping what they will do is pledge X numbers of dollars over the years, and then maybe we can take a look at doing something maybe constructively like a new office building. So we have room to actually have our offices where people can meet and see along those lines if there's something we can use it for. That would affect the tax base, and it may be a way to finance the darn thing if we know we've got X number of dollars coming in over the course of time. That's just one example of something we could do. Another thing that we're working on right now at the county level, there's a shared agreement. Our town hall our town shed, our highway department is in deplorable shape. Paul will tell you that. Anybody wants to take a look, a walk around there. It's just an accident in many cases waiting to happen. And so looking to see about doing a shared agreement, municipal agreement with the county to put up one garage that would benefit both the county and the town. And so that's a possibility. That's something that's out there in the shared service plan. I know the county is looking at that. We're looking doing one here with the county and the town. And the other one would be in Middle Falls, where they have a garage, and then one in Middle Falls would be with the town of Easton or the town of Greenwich, because they can locate it in that area pretty simply. This one seems to work out good out here. Everybody seems to get along and work well together, and so that's on your list. We got those two things that's kind of top of the county. So hopefully that'll work out for us. And that's pretty much all I have at this point in time. I'm sure I'll think of other things that have gone on and have any notes on here, but does anyone have any questions on what I reported on? At all? Yes,
Can I
Christine?
make a comment
You
on
may.
the power company? I know you weren't here and some of the board members weren't, but they had proposed this power line a few years back and they promised money. There was no equipment exchange, they said, yeah. They came out with a number in the first place, which was real nice, and then it got lower.
Yeah.
Also, it's supposed to be a place that they will be running through part of Battlefield, that if they find anything along the tracks and stuff, they are supposed to have somebody there to keep, so just remind them of that's what they told us
Yes,
a few years back, that we're supposed to have somebody there, because we know there is stuff over on that other side.
yes. I guess over the course of time, it's gone up, it's gone down, and it went back up.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what it is here. Now, the only other thing that may affect into that is to, a lot of times they try to base it around assessments and what they call pilot programs, where they will set and cap everything. But it's my understanding that this already is being looked at by the governor's office, because this is what he's been pushing for, is this green energy type of thing, for a special franchise. Because of special franchise, that takes the pilots out of play. The state sets all the assessments, and it's going to be whatever it is for those years. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. At least we're going to have our first formal meeting tomorrow night to see if we can come to an agreement, and then it won't be each town bidding against each other. We'll all be trying to get the same thing collectively. We already know the kind of things they've done down in the towns in Dutchess County and down in the southern part. And that's where the fire trucks came into play, and the dump trucks and those kind of things, so.
I just want to just remind them that they are going through a potential storage site.
Yeah,
I mean, they did pitch a fit, we did go and say, no, you can't
No,
do it.
that's marked in all the most recent documents I've got too, Christine, to
Okay,
show that, so.
Yeah, because we said it's already been compromised, we'll just make sure if we find something, we document it, that we have control, the town
Right.
has control over
Yeah,
it.
and they're actually supposed to have there's a name for it. It would be on site when they do the
Yeah.
bids, so that if they come across something, they can
Yeah.
stop at that point in
I
time.
know a lot's changed over the years, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that's still in place
Yeah.
and we keep up that part of it.
That is on my list, believe it or not.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. Town board members. Let's start with the Deb.
I'm good, I really was on that.
Okay. Michael?
Well, the only thing I've got is last month I talked about starting to kind of look over some of our local laws
Yes.
regarding properties and all that kind of stuff. So slowly, I've been getting some of the stuff that we have on file. Jeff emailed me quite a bit. Mark gave me some, Barbara's giving me a little bit. So started to get that stuff together and just slowly been reviewing that. It looks like most of it was done in the early '90s, so it's probably time that as we continue to grow, that we look into the future and at least review those and touch on those and
Sure.
work with the planning board or whatever to make some changes that we need to make
Yep.
and that. So slowly but surely,
Good.
I'll get there.
Yep. Appreciate that, Michael.
No, that
Then once you get all, you'll be able to share it with us.
I absolutely will.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm sorry. No.
The only other thing I do want to brought up was the issue with the manure spreaders.
Oh, yes, that's right.
There's an issue with I won't say it's an issue. Let me rephrase that because I don't mean it that way. I don't mean
Questionable
negative.
things.
Yeah, I know that Paul's not here to respond tonight. Well, Larry Bailey had requested Paul about doing some road work and putting in a culvert so that he could put his manure hoses
Yeah.
underneath the road. There was one up on West Road, which was up there, and I don't believe it's. I don't think the DEC approved it, but it was put under one of the bridges right along the stream up there. It was there last year, and I commented to Michael on it. And I don't even know if you wanted to tell the board at that point in time or not.
Yeah, no, I think I had just gotten on. I think, I want to say it was early spring at that time, and I noticed it running out of there. We kind of had a
And
little
then by the time we
conversation
get
about
Paul
that.
to go up and take a look at it, he was done for the day.
Right, yeah, and now it's been up there for well over a week now, so it's.
And he was asking about doing it on Goodman Road, and then I happened to go down Goodman Road yesterday, and I noticed that there is one going underneath Goodman Road. So anyways, Paul's comment to Larry was that, you know, he wasn't gonna rush to jump into it, but if Larry wanted to do it, we just put a new road in there 5 years ago. He was gonna have to replace that portion of the road, not just patch it. It was gonna have to be repaved. And Larry asked him how soon could he get on it, and I believe that Paul's response was, I'll be as quick to do that as you are to get the manure off the road when I ask you that the roads are still.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's where that stands.
Yeah, I'll imagine you'll see that all over the place. There's a pit that they draw out of there.
Yeah.
Oh,
They've
it's
got
bad.
hoses and they got literally miles and miles and miles. And
Yeah,
I mean, really, the only concern is that you just don't want them being destructive. That road runs into halfway creek. So,
And I believe that incident just not more a couple months, was it like a lake, something happened, the new truck sunk down in there, and
Yeah.
it was, I've never seen such a mess on West Road with that pit.
yeah. So we're working on that. I did call the DEC today, left a message. I got one call back, but I was in a meeting, so I tried back and I didn't get an answer. So I will continue to work out to see, is there anything that needs to be done or permits anything to be required and that type of stuff. I honestly don't know, but I just don't want to be in a position where it's going under a town road, and even though we didn't give permission, if it should end up in the creek and it starts contaminating things, are we going to be held liable?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that.
Isn't there one going under 149?
Yes, there is,
Yeah.
and I understand that the state highway gave him the authority to do that. They actually cleared out the culvert so they could put it under. The culvert was already there. They just cleaned it out so that the pipe was into it. I understand.
They got one going across Route 4 just this side of Hudson Falls too.
Yeah.
I guess I'm
Yeah,
doing very
that's
good.
the ideal area because as far as I'm concerned. Okay, George.
Nothing, been a quiet month.
Okay, very good. George has been very active with the Hadlock Association, and actually, in addition to that, we're going to be. I'm working on renewing the permit for the harvester, so hopefully we'll have that done. George and I will go over that here hopefully next week after I get all the copies of the documents that we didn't have that the DEC's got to send. So we can get that done and get moving along on that. And, get our program in place for the harvester. Gretchen.
I didn't have anything from the Office of the Aging, so no report on that. We do have a new rescue board for the beach, for the lifeguards. The other one was in really bad condition, so that's good. The bike trail is almost completed. We're getting ready to have a grand opening, but I don't think that's gonna come until spring.
Yeah.
I hope. What we're looking at doing is sort of branding each town with a theme, a historic theme. And I'm gonna try to work with the Historic Society and maybe we could use something dealing with Battle Hill, possible turning point of the Revolutionary War or something like this, but use Battle Hill in it, so that would be 40th branding point. But again, it's gonna be up to the Historical Society. We're also looking into getting some trail stewards, whether it's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, just general people who want to help out, to check out the bike trails and report to us if there's anything that needs to be done to improve it, if there's any damage or whatever. So it's coming, and Mike mentioned there's lights over toward Comstock, so that part of the trail it must be just about done. So that's great. So things are looking up. I guess that's about it.
Can I make a comment on that bike trail thing? Did anybody ever check and see who put the signs up on Clay Hill Road for the bike trail? Because most of them aren't gonna be there after this.
yeah, no, I know you
There's-
mentioned the fall.
The
I
snowplows are gonna be
I
not.
thought maybe George and Gretchen had checked the signs out.
Boy, they're close, a lot of them are.
A lot of them are just about equal with the mailboxes.
True.
So
Well, they don't usually make it through the winter either, so I'm just. Mine usually ends up.
Well, even Paul said he kinda thinks most of them are gonna be down.
Yeah.
With snowplows, cause you just can't plow that.
okay, well I think we're just gonna have to find out what happens this
Wait and
winter.
see.
You know,
it'll be the state be responsible for putting it back up, so I think they put it there to begin with, they got a contract,
Yeah.
probably.
See how many times they knock them down before they move them back.
Right. And I'm gonna check in, I think this historic pamphlet has been redone or is getting redone by Terry Barber or,
No, we're working on updating them.
Yes.
okay,
They're
so,
not done yet, as far as I know.
okay, I'm gonna check and I'd like to have these available
Yeah,
for the people.
let me tell you, I just got this email today too from Terry.
Oh,
Okay, it's to see him. Please find the enclosed brochures which goes along with the email I sent you today. You can see how the business section is outdated along with some other items. Perhaps the town and the village boards can work with the Historical Society to make an updated version paid for by businesses that would like their names imprinted. Thank you, Terry, for the Historical Society. The only concern I have about it is that the paying for it part. So that implies to me that if their name's not, is gonna be put on here, they're gonna pay some kind of fee for it. If we're gonna put this out under the town, I don't think we can probably do that. It's gotta be inclusive of everybody. I'm just looking at some guys, Jeff, I don't know.
Yeah, towns aren't able to ask for money, so it'll be.
Right. It'd have to be the Historical Society that did it. Right. Yeah. So that was my first response on it, was that, and the secondly, I know we've got some of the businesses here. I don't think, Barb, you don't have a listing of all the businesses, right?
We do.
You do?
Yep, it's out on the website. Yeah.
Okay.
I keep a paper copy and then
Okay.
we update it periodically on the website.
And I don't mean this sarcastically, but we're pretty sure that it's accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually just did it when Terry, I gave him a copy of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
All right.
Probably a couple months ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because what I didn't want to do was give out something if there's businesses that we missed or some that are no longer there, and then open ourselves up for that. So,
Yeah.
okay. If you're comfortable with it, then we can see about pursuing something along this line. They would just have to raise the money for it. We wouldn't be able. This last one was paid for out of a grant, I believe. Back when they did it with the pocket parks, I think that's when this was paid for. It's a joint project of the town and village of 48 and students of the 48 Central School. Yeah, so they did it out of the pocket park monies. So, I guess where I'm at with it is, yeah, if they want to pursue it, certainly it's a good thing to do, and you should have someone that gives a good thing to put out with the bike trails along with the other things, because it is outdated. So I'll get back to Terry then and give him that message that we can't put the money into it, but if they want to ask for the donations, they certainly can. The Historical Society. What do you think, Christine and George?
Well,
Yes.
you know, the treasurer of the Historical Society, I think, so. So I guess I get the money going. This is my problems, I'm so many jobs in my head,
Sure,
so I'm
understand.
trying to separate them all into one. The Historical Member Society, you know, as a member, they would never be able to have the money to print these things. We had enough trouble doing the Battle Hill brochures, and we used CWI, and we still, it was costly. We wanted to update the walking tours and the business ones for the tourism. We got trails coming in, hopefully one day Battle Hill, there's so much we got coming in to benefit the town and the village. So I think what Terry was kind of alluding was, it should be the town, it should be a project the town does as for a cost, I guess, but we don't have any money in our budget for that, do we, for tourism, we don't have a tourism budget at this point. That's something we might want to think about in the future, because we are getting more and more trails. We're trying to get more tourism in here, so we might have to start thinking that in the future. That's my other head going, in the future for the board stuff, start looking at. I know it's gonna be difficult next couple of years because of this COVID stuff, but we should think about more besides we get to recreation, so that I can all go under tourism.
Right.
But right now, I know we don't have it.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can think of is send it back to Historical Society, is maybe they can find a way to get somebody to help print it, or we can find a grant for it.
That was my theory. Look, see if there's some grant available
And I don't
we
know
apply
if there's,
for.
I don't know if there's any state level that the town could apply for under
Yeah.
recreation.
We certainly can check it out. The
It's-
email I got from Terry, the way I read it was that he expected the town to solicit the money on their behalf. And we can't do that. We
No,
can't go and
no,
say that for town 48.
And I'll explain that to him.
Okay.
I think what he was thinking is the town, because of the money and it's for the benefit, he was probably thinking.
Yeah.
But you can't,
But I think it's a great thing. We can check out grants and see what's
see if
available.
there's available for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been putting in so many grants ourselves historically, you know, the historical society, and it's getting overwhelming,
Yeah,
there's only so many of us
understand.
who can do them, but. I mean, I think that would be for the town in the future, start looking at grants for recreation and.
Yep.
It's, well, not to get through a couple of bumpy years right now, but it's something to look forward to the future, you know. And, you know, maybe,
And I don't think, I think I can speak for our board and say we're not opposed to it, just a matter of
No, it's
how
money.
we can help out to orchestrate it.
yeah, and I don't, when we have our meetings, we ever have another one, is, I'll explain to them, I don't think we should do that to businesses, some of them here can barely make it day by day, they go, look, you wanna read a brochure, you know, some money, if not, that's just seems a little crude there.
Well, and the other thing we may do too, that there was Gretchen, what's the program on the bike trail? There's one specifically for being town friendly, or town being friendly. We can list businesses,
Oh, they want businesses to become bike-friendly
like
businesses.
friendly businesses.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do something for that along this line, and include our businesses and include, the information on the recreation, the battle hill, and that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, this is not a year to be asking businesses for money when they're
No,
growing, you know, it's what businesses we have for you. It's just-
No.
Well, the bike-friendly business is great.
Yeah, it wouldn't cost
Yes.
anything.
Yeah, that's not another option, but we haven't been able to meet, so if you could just kind of, I
Okay.
understand that, but I'm just,
Got it.
might be for in the future, whatever we need to do, okay?
Very good. Anything else, Gretchen?
No,
Okay, Barb.
I gave the town a check for $378.70 for the month of November 1st to November 30th.
Very good. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right. Highway Superintendent, Paul tells me he's all ready to go. As long as he gets out of quarantine, he'll be good as new. Okay, and they're all set to do their plowing, all the equipment's up to date, and no real problems with the town that he needed to report on, which is good. Okay, everybody got a copy of the enforcement officers' reports? You go with that?
Yeah, I got
There you go. Demo permits, one, that was a camp removal. Phone calls, voicemails, emails, a text, newsletters, follow-ups. Text, 6 messages. I won't talk to the beginning with the building permits is 6, the single family house is 3, module home 1, house rehab 1, and pellet stove 1. I'm gonna, once again, I'm gonna ask Mark to be a little more specific on what these numbers what they actually mean. So, 10 phone calls were those, robocalls that somebody called on the phone and we had a robocalls. So we'll check with that and see where we are with that. And historian, Christina.
I don't have really anything much to say, everything is usual, same old phone calls and stuff. And we already discussed other stuff, but if you don't mind, I'll introduce George here for his report for the cemetery in East Westfield.
Yes.
Councilman Smith and Councilwoman Stark, when we met with, Ms. Witherall, was it October? In October, you all got the minutes that I did,
Yes.
so it's just time to fly. And she said she wasn't sure, maybe by Memorial Day, so we did extend it to Memorial Day to let her work on it, because we knew the timing and stuff. George, and she was really in agreement with everything we decided. So George said he saw activity over there before Veterans Day.
Yeah.
So if you want to pick it up from there, what he found.
Yep.
And
Yes, well, I went by and I saw that they were working there. And on my way back, I stopped to check and they were out of there. But they had put the bench in, and it's right where Christine had suggested it. They had put the pieces of headstones into those boxes they had created. And they put down all the bricks that they had sold for whatever, that farm they called it, the cemetery, but, and it looks real nice. The young gentleman that did it did a beautiful job on it, and, I put new flags around the flagpole and stuff, and, other than, her getting back to us, I mean, if she's completed, I mean, to me, it looks like it has been completed.
Okay.
And it looks real nice, so, waiting for Memorial Day, I just don't have it.
Good.
So I think we can write it off that it's finally done after 5 years, 6 years, however long this nightmare's been going, it's finally done. If they come in and do any more activity, then it's definitely not by our agreements, so hopefully there'll be no more disturbance and finally everybody, the rest will be done with it over there.
Should we thank them for getting it completed?
It's Sam's the polite one to cover. I've had issues in the past with her, so I mean, she was cordial that day, but it was intensive with the timeline. But the gentleman that did it, I knew he was gonna do a good job, and I told her that, I said, he's got a vision, he'll do it exactly where we want it, because he did our stones exactly, and I knew when she got out of it, let him do it, it was gonna be fine. And they did move the slate away from the flagpole, remember that was temporary, so I think we're good. I'll go in there and check again later.
Yeah, they moved the dirt pile on that and everything?
Yes.
Good.
So I think we can write that off the bucket list for cemetery.
Why?
Hopefully, and hopefully we still like sometime in the next 10 years, I mean, I'm just,
Okay, very good.
that's it, I'm done.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, new business. Do we have any new business anyone wants to bring up tonight?
Oh, can I bring up something?
You may.
Just a little list.
Yes.
I just wanted to see if there was something at the town board could like maybe a letter of appreciation or something for Dale and Coral and Brunel for the food pantry. I was gonna do this September, but it's been an overwhelming year, the food pantry, and with Carl's health and stuff, they're still doing everything. They go down to Albany now, I guess once a week, and pick up food and bring it up here. We got 2 freezers in there now, Historical Society bought a freezer, we got a freezer. And the donations from the people in town has been awesome. But Coral and Dale have been down almost every day restocking and shopping and doing awesome, despite everything. They got the fryer hoppers comes in every week, they've been able to do that. I don't know, maybe something on the town website when we get it up, appreciation for, the Methodist Church, they've been wonderful. Providing all the time, they had their youth group just donated money for hams. Queen Anne seniors have been, I think, they do every couple of months. Individuals, it's just so many names, and but of all the food pantries out there, Fort Anne seems to be the best one. They were up at 30 families, come and go. We got an increase, we know it's coming when they lock down again, but. And Dale and Coral don't set times, if somebody needs it, just remind everybody, if there's a desperate need all of a sudden or something happens, hospitalization, they can call and he will get them food. So I just wanted to see.
We'll do a proclamation thanking him for their efforts.
Because I know he won't shoot his own horn, but I mean, alongside, I'm exhausted, just, working with him, and I'm not down to physically doing it, but it's a lot they took on for themselves and their safety and their health.
We've got 29 kids at the school also, they're still using the backpack
Yes.
program, so.
And we've been, I know, our fryer hopper stuff, and, he even been able to get milk and butter and stuff, we've been trying to get refrigeration and it's been going, they did turkeys, it was amazing. And
Yes.
individual donations,
You guys are doing a great job out there.
we try, they do most of the work, And another thing I forgot to tell you, the Historical Society did get a grant, and we did get money for defib for the library, for the
Oh, good.
historical library, and for anybody, we have a defib.
Good.
Whenever we can open up, put it in there, but we have one now, but we did get that grant too this year, so that was 2 grants the Historical Society got this year, just for the benefit of the community.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? That's okay. That's okay. So there's nothing new business. Let's get to the resolutions. Number 84, Bart.
Resolution accepting the resignation of part-time cleaner. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Fort Anne accepts the resignation of Richard Parra as part-time cleaner, and resolved that the town board of the town of Fort Anne authorizes the town supervisor to hire a qualified applicant to be a part-time cleaner.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
There's a motion from George, second from Gretchen. Discussion. Is there any discussion? So this was Richard Parrott Senior, okay, who was resigning. It was my understanding that I believe that Junior's coming in.
Yeah,
now,
this
too.
is just a formality
Yep,
for
okay.
civil service purposes to remove Mr. Parrott, the father. And yes, we've already hired
So we're all-
the son,
We're
yeah,
all set for that, okay.
yes.
So can I have, I've got the motion, I've got the second, is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number 85, please.
This is an annual resolution that we do for the Kingsbury Barnstormers Snowmobile Club regarding use of Niagara Mohawk's property. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board has no objections for the Barnstormers Snowmobile Club, the use of the proposed snowmobile trails that cross any Niagara Mohawk properties, and be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to notify National Grid and provide the town's consent relative to the Barnstormers Snowmobile Club use of the proposed snowmobile trail. And the only thing they did ask is they wanted the supervisor down in the left-hand side. I've done it in the past, but this year they asked that it actually be the supervisor's name.
Really?
Yeah, so that's why that's different.
I can do that, I can sign it, yeah.
Yep.
If it's approved. Do we have a motion? Michael, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Yeah. Is there any discussion? The only discussion I have is that when I had talked, I got the message from Mr. Perkins, Dave Perkins, who represents the Barnstormers. I was under the impression that he was looking for usage of the roads, because the conversation that he had with me was, do you have a listing of the roads that are snowmobile roads in Fort Erie? And I knew the road I lived on had been at one point in time, that Mills Road, and I wasn't really sure about the rest of them. And then Barb and Gretchen started going through the things and researching it, and this was what they came up with. So I called Dave before because I couldn't find his phone number. Gretchen just gave it to me. I called him before the meeting started and asked him to call him at 6 o'clock if you got him. I will get back to him. So I guess where I'm going with this is that this may not be the end of what we hear. I guess there may be some additional stuff they want us to do. So we'll do the best we can. Have to call a special meeting to get them going when the snow gets here. Because we certainly don't want to mess them up. If everybody's in agreement to what the locations are we're talking about, right? So, having said that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number
86, resolution authorizing the contract with North Shore Solutions for Town of Fort Erie website. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Fort Erie hereby authorizes the contract with North Shore Solutions 22740 Murat Circle, Watertown, New York, for continued website development and management in accordance with the contract attached hereto and made a part hereof. And be it further resolved, the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign and enter into said agreement, subject to final attorney approval of the same. This is our 5th year with them. We started with them 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, now 21. And the only thing that changed is their address.
used to be Clayton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just, I asked Barb to give me the amount of that contract, just so we know for purposes. It's $2,380 a year. So, do we have a motion for that?
I'll make that.
Gretchen? Oh, Deb made the motion, Gretchen, second, I can't talk to the mascot, man. Sorry, I apologize. You want
Had
some
the mask on for too long.
Yeah. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Number 87 is resolution to hire part-time laborer. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Fort Erie approves the hiring of a part-time laborer for snow removal at the Fort Erie Town Hall, and resolved that the town board of the town of Fort Erie authorizes the town supervisor to hire a qualified applicant to be a part-time laborer at $13.35 an hour to be paid bi-weekly. And be it further resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately because there's a snowstorm predicted Wednesday. I just added that in there. It seemed to be urgent today, that's why it wasn't on the original agenda.
Well, it can be adjusted 3 feet, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, you know, and they're running.
Okay, so we have a motion for that, please. Michael, do you have a second? Second. George, Okay, under discussion. Where we are on this is that, Mark sent an email today. I was under the understanding that, Ricky Parrott Jr. was going to be doing it, but apparently he didn't show up for the snow we had the other day. And in the process of, today coming with a heavier storm, the gentleman across the street is a retired prison, his name?
Correction officer, Russell Goslin.
Yeah, Russell Goslin. Okay, is available, him and his son would be interested in doing it. And so, I told her to talk to him and get that done. In the meantime, I'll get in touch with Ricky and see what his desires are. I don't know. I don't know if transportation's an issue or,
It usually is, that's, I know he's had trouble in the past in keeping up with the library.
Right.
yeah,
I mean, his uncle Dick used to drive him.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just concerned we don't get into a situation where we've got, people coming in more, we've got to get us shoveling 2 or 3 times a day
Yeah.
because of the things for safety reasons.
Yeah.
But I'll reach out to them and see what their game plan is, but in the meantime, we're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
And go from there. He will still be doing his, take care of the garbage, that kind of stuff, because that can be done anytime. It's not we kind of work around his schedule for that. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, now, we're looking at setting up and this is subject to change. We have to have a, review of the emergency plan, for the Hadlock Dam. All right? And the date that we had, Nicole, do you remember, Barb?
I don't think we came up with one. We came up with one for our annual audit.
That was the annual audit we came up with.
Yeah, but not the Hadlock review.
So, I'd like to try to do that during the daytime, if we can work that out. We don't all have to be here for that, it's just, you're more than welcome to come, but I just, it's, we don't all have to be here for that, it's not something that's, the review is done by the committee, which is normally the chairman and another member of the board, if they want to, the supervisor, another member of the board, Hadlock, and then we bring up the emergency people from the county, to just sit here and go over what the plan was, and make sure we've got all the proper names on the list, just what the telephone numbers are, who needs to be called, and those kind of things. So we'll get together with a list on that. Is there a day of the week that's better for anybody? As of right now, days are open here because the thing is closed. We normally couldn't do it Monday or Wednesday.
You wouldn't be able to do it here Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Okay.
Mondays and Fridays are usually the best days.
Okay. So we'll have to take a look at one of those days.
You could do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday afternoons. It's just
Yes.
not morning that's available.
Okay. All right, so we'll come up with that. That's something that we have to get done here. It's normally done annually. It was done at the end of October last time, and of course COVID has kind of pushed it out here a little bit. So that's where we are with that. Anything else anybody wants to bring up? Does anybody have any questions for Jeff? He's going to get paid to see if Mount answers questions or not. So. Okay, is there anything that you need from us, Jeff?
No, the only, just adding on to the pamphlet thing, the town can spend money on it, it just can't solicit money.
Gotcha.
And there are ways to do kind of public-private partnerships and things like that. It was, my understanding of the question was really that solicitation component.
Yes.
Whether you guys want to and how much money, well, that's political, I'll leave it to smarter people.
Don't blame the political, say smarter people, let us go together. Oh, okay, very good. So, I will keep you abreast of what's taking place here at the town. Should we end up having to close the whole thing down, depending on how the pandemic goes.
See, and can we touch on just one more thing? Michael Sexton, Councilman Sexton, is the only person that has to have an oath of office this year. So he's gonna come in, I think probably like January 4th,
Yeah,
before our first meeting, and so that we're all legal for him to vote and everything.
Okay.
And then you had decided we're going to do, the organizational meeting before the regular meeting on the 11th. So just so everybody's on the same page with that, we're not having an oath of office ceremony, and we're not having, Michael didn't want to be the center of attention. Oh, plus he had more than 10 people that had to be invited, so, yeah, we just gotta break that list down. And,
We're never gonna hear the end of this because Michael doesn't want attention. We did, shy away from getting 1,400 some odd votes. I don't think we ever got that many. If we had them all together. But anyways, so.
So just so kind of everybody can mark their calendars too, that'll be you'll have your organizational meeting, and then we'll have our regular meeting on the 11th. Everything's starting at
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, and the organization may go pretty quick, and I think they're as we are now. The other thing that I think we're gonna need to start doing so we can get more of the public involved in the meetings and not have to shut them out, is maybe do it on Zoom.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Now, I know that for those that are, nervous or scared about Zoom, as I was when I first started out with it, believe me, I'm very technical challenged. I don't know how to turn it on and get to my email, and that's basically it. There is and if your computers aren't available to actually Zoom in, you can do it on a telephone call, where you can participate. Your picture just doesn't come up on the computer. You dial in and it goes in the system. Jeff, can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. And one of the things I offer to the town is our firm has a subscription to Zoom, so we can have up to 100 people. There's no time limit, and it is very user friendly. And depending on the purpose of the meeting and the settings, you can have executive sessions on it. You can meet virtually. Somebody usually becomes essentially in charge of the meeting, whether it's myself or kind of anyone who's comfortable with it, because you can let people into the meeting and out of the meeting. If you need to do an executive session, it's kind of a click. You can mute everybody. You can allow different people to speak at different times. And what towns and meetings, how they've kind of been generally handled is the town board more or less either joins via phone call or computer if they have the ability, and they're the ones that are allowed to talk. To the extent that it works and there's no feedback, they don't mute their microphones just for the sake of forgetting to unmute it when it's time to talk. And where there is video, it is able to work, and people are doing different things like raising their hand just to make sure that their voice is heard and things like that. And it seems to be working well, and it's the part of it is the fear, but once you get past the fear, like the town of Indian Lake in Hamilton County has been using it. I got Hartford Planning Board to use it, back in May. Like it's really just kind of being okay with it and knowing that you're going to make mistakes, but the mistakes are fine, and everybody makes them, and even just calling in, makes it easier. It allows people to stay away. The public can listen. If they have a lot of computer literacy, you can literally have it, plug it into your television at home and watch the meeting, like you're watching anything on television. Because if you're a member of the public, you're not going to speak anyways. Or if you want them in a public comment, you can kind of pick up the phone and participate that way. But there's a lot of different options to at least view and listen, to just listen. So it does work fairly well, and now that we've been in this situation for however long, 9 months now, people are just getting more and more comfortable and more used to it. So there's less of a shock.
Is this the same thing that we did in April and May? Because we did put it out on the website and we advertised it in the paper.
I don't remember
But
if
no,
you used
the only
Zoom.
person that called in was you.
Yeah. So yeah, that is because it was the same Zoom setup.
Yes, yep.
But like Kingsbury recently switched all their email system over, which is like the Gmail and Google platform. So I think they're using like Google Meets or something. A lot of the school districts use Google Meet, so you have your kids at home, they know how to work that, and they all work fairly similar. It's just knowing where the icon is because it moves around depending on the platform. But it generally works pretty well, as long as you're patient, because it does take a little bit longer, and everybody forgets to click the button when they want to get hurt, and that's fine.
I feel very Well, I can do it, I feel very uncomfortable having to turn people away from a public meeting. You know, we could have a family come out here, for example, that had an issue or something they wanted to discuss. And to try to keep it under the 10 people, for the gathering, you know, aspect of it. Tonight we had 2 people, you know.
Well, they voluntarily left.
Okay.
You can't turn people away from a public meeting. But even that, like, there are, as long as it's open to the public, there are even hybrid models of that where, you know, say a group of people are meeting here because it's easier, but everybody else views it at home. You know, those situations work. All the executive orders have been extended for the open meetings law. So it's really, it's up to the people that are involved and, you know, their technology at home and what they're comfortable with. You know, if you're out shelving rocks somewhere with zero internet or the ability to log in, you know, it may make sense just to either call in through a landline or, you know, have a small group of people here that can be distant. I mean, this room is big enough for, you know, a handful of people to have the meeting. It's just the notice and the ability of the public to view and participate just needs to get broadcast out.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe
you know,
just a second.
that
Hey,
is
Patty.
acceptable as well. It's just getting the notice right in the paper so the public knows.
How are you?
I thought that's what we did, like in March and April. Or April and May, I'm sorry, April and May. We put it on the website and you gave us the instructions.
Yeah.
We
Journey?
ran the legal notice and like I said, and you were the only one that called in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can
that worked out well. I was at home with my
It
desk.
worked, that was the good news, it worked.
Thanks, Patty, absolutely.
Yeah, so there are options for the town. The only trick is just knowing in advance. If you're gonna go in that direction, being able to get the notices out to the post-star up on the website, members of the public that, you know, maybe viewing at home or used to being able to track it down. Facebook, if you know where that information is, just to be able to get it out to allow people to participate.
And I do believe if you're gonna go that way, definitely telephones. I mean, I live on West Road and my internet is in and out. But if the public down South Bay, so they can at least call in if they have concerns or questions, would be perfect.
Yeah.
Most people are now used to computers, they have kids, grandkids. She knows more on it than I do, but she still forgets how to mute her button by the way, but, you know, because she mutes it, she wanna hear the rest of the class. But, you know, but most of us are now familiar and used to that. I do believe our seniors might have issues, you know, the older ones, but if you give them the ability to call in, you know, I do believe at least have the phone with them, but I think that's the way we should go, even for the future. Until we get a better building. I mean, you can't park out here. I've got seniors that can never get here, just drive across the road, so I mean, that's something even for the future.
Yeah, that's why we use the winter time especially, we use the firehouses because of the parking in the snowbanks, so they can get here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Thank you for not telling these people they could voluntarily leave until, you know, after the meeting, we would have had enough for the meeting.
Exactly.
If just you, they sit here.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Does anyone else have anything to come before the board? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Michael, you have a second? George, any discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everyone. And have a good holiday season.